We human beings are creatures with extraordinary talents. That is why it is so mind-blowing to learn that we perceive only a fraction of what is going on around us. Our minds protect us from overloading by filtering what we need into the most essential. This means that a lot of our surrounding reality goes by without it getting even close to entering our consciousness. This human condition is generally a virtue, but in times of necessary changes, it is a burden that leads us into severe and unexpected disruptions of our comfort zones. In this video, we introduce 3 elements that help define the way we observe and act in consequence. Once we understand this, we will get a grasp of both our limitations and our options to enlarge our perception to help us avoid unexpected disasters. 1. Focus. Our perception of realities around us demands so much processing power that we can only do one thing at the time. So if we want to act, we tend to focus. While focusing, all the other things around us tend to disappear. They are still there, but our focus places over 90% of reality in the background of our perception. Even when we are not focusing on a particular task, our level of alertness travels in short bursts of focus. We tend to become aware of one thing at the time. If we do this quickly, our mind builds a story. And this story is not necessarily a pure reflection of what we see. It is mainly a reflection of what we want to see. 2. Interpretation. When my wife was pregnant, all I saw were announcements of diapers, the man exclaimed. This example shows that our interpretation of reality is conditioned. Both little blocks keep moving in a straight parallel line. Our mind alters the perception. The diaper publicity is always there, but we pay attention when the circumstance of our lives want us to do so. Our perception is also conditioned by our position in a reality. Take, for instance, these 2 people, both looking at the same figure. Is it a 6 or a 9? There are 2 ways to get to a consensus about the interpretation. The first is through dialogue. The other is by changing position. There are so many times in life that we bluntly defend our own interpretation of reality instead of opening up to other ways of looking at things. 3. Context. When he was a manager in a factory, his daily reality was defined by that job and related lifestyle. Due to an accident, he ended up in a wheelchair and started to work in politics to defend the needs and rights of disabled people. In this example, the perception of reality changed entirely due to intense changes in personal circumstances. We see that context is defined by family heritage, local culture, education, religious beliefs, and personal circumstances. There are many people and even institutions that live their lives constantly in the same focus, context, and interpretation of reality. They only tend to know just that one reality with only minor variations. It is their comfort zone, their personal bubble. They will therefore defend that reality no matter what, often avoiding and even fearing changes. So when does change of our perception of reality occur with corresponding modifications of our behavior? This happens when voluntary or involuntary alterations occur in our focus, interpretation, or context. During a lifetime, we may have several involuntary moments that force us to make such changes. In our current era, many people, especially our younger generations, experience a whole series of such moments, pushing them into perceiving reality in many different ways while taking actions accordingly. This may seem very disturbing, but at the same time, it proves to be a very important mind-changing learning process. Also, voluntary actions produce such changes in perception. For instance, by visiting other cultures, changing living environments, or by making ethical changes. STIR Foundation creates environments where people and institutions can safely practice all this by, for instance, inviting them into the ethical context of developing our existential natural human values together. When this happens, it helps humankind to make evolutionary steps. Such intense perception alterations lead to awareness breakthroughs, personal turning points, and moral or ethical development. Society then tends to turn from stressed solid control-based hierarchies, maybe into highly volatile gassy behavioral environments, often sensed as a crisis or revolution, or preferably develop into transformative liquid, in which new solid community clusters appear that shape our evolutionary collective reality. We are currently living such a turbulent era. We can observe all 3 states, solid, gas, and liquid, around us. So be prepared and take joy and benefit of the many realities that will manifest themselves to you and make your own choices.